Ladies and gentlemen, pray silence for the biggest thing to come out of Essex since...
Fatima Whitbread.
No.
Depeche Mode.
No.
Scroobius Pip.
Definitely not.
Brian Bellow.
The greatest thing since Brian Bellow to come out of Essex is hardcore listing with Chris and Stu.
All right. Wow. They've come back. Thank you.
How is everyone, all right? Lovely, lovely.
Where have we come from today? Who's gone the furthest?
Who's come that far? Come on.
Manchester.
Manchester.
Ooh, that's
I mean, that's impressive.
Yeah.
Decent.
Stoke.
Decent. Not so decent. That don't count.
Out.
Well, look, thanks ever so much for coming here on a Saturday afternoon, which is quite novel. It was a Thursday night last time.
Yeah.
And we was a little bit concerned when we thought we'd do a matinee.
Yep.
But
thanks for showing up. Much appreciated.
Yeah, really, really kind of you all. So thank you very much.
We've done another. What have we done since then, mate? We did a Dublin one, didn't we?
We went over to Dublin because that was... Well, Pip had a show out there and he played this huge fuck-off theatre and he invited us out for about 5 minutes. It was quite quick to get us back off and then kind of got his important celebrity mates on.
Yeah.
And then the following night, he'd got us a show at a much smaller theatre.
Yeah.
And that was interesting. We didn't go on stage till midnight. And so we've been in Dublin all day thinking, and bear in mind we've been given free booze, right? And so you think, right, okay, look, we've got to time this right. We can't go straight in here. And so we're sitting there in a pub for about 4 hours, like nursing a pint. And in the end, it was just, oh, fuck it. And
started quaffing them. And
yeah.
It got messy. I mean, I can't really remember past the first hour.
Well, I think what you'll remember is about an hour and 20 minutes in, Pip went, what are you doing? And you couldn't be bothered to go and find the toilet, so you pissed in a pint glass on stage. Yeah. That was...
That makes it sound like I got my todger out. I didn't. It was under... I'm a classy dude.
Sorry, Chris wet himself on stage in Dublin.
And it trickled into a pint glass. There was like a curtain, wasn't there, in front of the table, so I could sort of slip it out under there. And no one knew it. I got away with it, I think. So
it was a classy affair.
Do you reckon that's why Pip's not here today?
But he's not here today. Sorry. We finally got out from his shadow.
Yeah.
And
it's cold.
Yeah, we're kind of starting to overtake him in popularity now. We see ourselves as a much bigger deal than him now, don't we?
For sure.
He's
trying hard though, bless him.
Yeah, bless him.
Guests,
we'll keep carrying him. That's fine. That's fine, mate.
He can't compete with this chemistry, can he? I don't think... He said he was out of the country, but I think he's literally sat at home.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the thing was, where we didn't go on stage till like 12, we come off stage we got told to shut up at about 3:30 in the morning. Yeah. And we got overexcited, obviously. Pip was just sitting there thinking, make this end. And we was just banging on. Don't even really think the audience were particularly that involved. Me and you was just like, I fucking love you, mate. It was pretty messy, wasn't it? But we had to literally, from there, go back. Pip nicely had booked us a flight for about 7 a.m. So we'd left there, went back to the hotel. You had enough time to... take the recording equipment out of a suitcase and leave it in the hotel, so we then had to get it flown back from fucking Dublin. But we got to the the airport, and you weren't in good shape, was you?
I felt wretched, and you just had complete power over me that day.
It was amazing, because as you well know, when we've done drunk casts and that, I eased my anxiety by really playing on Chris's anxiety and explaining just how fucking bad he was. And so we got to the airport, and I took a photo of you, and it was horrific, wasn't it?
Fucking arsehole.
And you got all upset, but his battery had died on his phone. Now, with the hardcore listing social media, we both have logins to that, so we both interact. So I straight away put that picture up, and it got shitloads of likes. Quite quickly, he was like, oh, you've put that picture up, get rid of it. And I was like, oh, I can't, mate.
But then you started putting up other pictures that you hadn't even taken that day. For some reason, months ago, I sent you a picture of me just in a towel. And you know, like one of those jokey ones you send your mates that aren't for the rest of the world, / sexy. And you fucking posted that, and Pip was showing it to me on his phone. He's like, and I couldn't take it down. I was just left out.
But you was crouching on the floor with your cap pulled over your eyes, just going, "Oh, just please get rid of it." And like being an arse, I took great comfort in just consistently knocking the peak of your cap and knocking your cap off your head to the point where I think it's probably the closest you've ever got to having a fight on it. Just for fuck's sake, will you just fucking leave me alone?
My punches would have been like that, lank punches. Yeah, you're a cool man that day.
And so since then we've been up to Manchester, and have any of you listened to the Mike Joyce Smiths one yet? Like, I'm really pleased with that. I think that was
of course you are.
Yeah,
Mike. Anything, Mike. I'll do anything. It's terrible. But on the way up there, you really kept it together, and about 30 minutes in, you just started chain smoking, and we got round there, and you were just yes, mate. It was tragic. So yeah, but you actually weren't that bad, to be fair.
No, you've got to realise that he's one of the fucking.
No one needs to hear it. No one needs to hear it.
It ain't every day you get to go to your hero's house and sit in his front room and have a chat for a couple of hours. And I, you know, aside from me fanboying out, I thought he come across really well. I think he was, you know, interesting, fun, and so that was good.
Fanboying out.
Yeah. And then that night we got back to the hotel and we recorded with Dr. Susie Gage, who's on the Distraction Pieces Network.
So that's coming out what, Monday?
That's out Monday, and then we got up. We didn't
sleep again.
No, you got the because you wanted to sleep, but I was too excited.
Yeah.
And I was like, let's do an Instagram live video.
Yeah, and there was literally 5 people watching it, and he was doing it for hours. And you might as well started up chat roulette or something like that, man. It was really moody, and you found it hysterical. I think once we'd watched Under Siege, I figured that was when we'd go to sleep. You were pumped, obviously, seeing Seagal. When
we was watching Under Siege, we turned the telly on, and Under Siege was on, and and I don't know if any of you have seen that, but there's a scene in that where the Baywatch babe, Erica Elenak, pops out of a giant birthday cake with her knockers out. So I went, this will make a great little video. And so for about 15 minutes, you were just sitting there with your camera in front of the television waiting for...
I couldn't remember when it came on, so I watched most of Under Siege through my phone.
Yeah. But since then, we've got some really good ones coming out as well. We're not plugging the podcast, but we're just giving you a little recap of kind of what happened since then. But we went... we've been up to London, and we got to meet and record with Frank Bruno, which was fucking amazing, wasn't it? It was it's a good one, and I
thought he was going to weigh out Brad at one point. Didn't you, Brad?
But we won't say too much because we want you to listen to it. And then a few days after that, we went up to London again, and we interviewed Huey from Fun Loving Criminals, who's got a great podcast as well. And I mean,
that was cool.
I know he's long been said that he's a cool guy, but he's a fucking cool guy.
Yeah, we met him in a really fancy hotel. Where was that hotel?
Some posh London. I don't really
London
know.
Edition.
Yeah, that was it. Yeah, that was really... We looked so out of place. Yeah. When we got there, we were sitting there dressed like this in this kind of really swank fucking lobby, wasn't it? And people just kept coming over going like, you all right? We're like, yeah, fine, thanks. Would you like a drink? And he's like, can't afford one. Okay, so...
So that's that.
That is that. So should we...
Take care, guys.
Right, so... Today, the idea is it's going to be top 5 things about London. So we thought, like, rather than the last time we've done embarrassing stories, and was any use at the last one?
Oh, thanks. And you came back.
Yeah.
But we thought we'd
That's
switch it up a bit.
That noise there of how many people come back. The next one's going to be a quiet affair, isn't it?
Yeah, we thought we'd switch up and do top 5 things about London, because last one was about embarrassing stories, and we had people coming up talking about fucking their cousins, and we thought, let's avoid that.
Yeah.
She was desperate to tell that story as well.
I
thought my cousin.
That was my work colleague who was meant to be here today, and then all of a sudden yesterday, I can't get a babysitter, and I thought, there we go.
Who's she got the kid with?
Okay, so what we're going to do, we'll do that, and we've got 4 guests tonight, and so the first half's we're going to have 2 guests, then we're going to have a 30-minute break, and then in the second half we're going to have 2 guests. But at the end of the second half, we're going to invite questions from yourselves. So if you've got any interesting stories about London, or any bizarre stories where you've met famous people, or anything that you think that kind of, or anywhere about London that you think you've got something that might be interesting to talk about, then we'll involve you and we'll have a chat.
Yeah, we'll have a chat with you. Or if you've got questions about Stuart Whiffen, come up and ask them, and I will answer them for you.
Yeah, I should point out at this point, I don't really want my wife coming up and getting involved in this. Right, okay, so we'll introduce our first 2 guests, and our first guest is Jen, and last week Jen had a book published called I Was Britpopped, and we're going to talk about that, and we're going to talk about Britpop, and also throughout that era of Britpop there was someone that was presenting lots of stuff on TV around that era about presenting Top of the Pops and such like that. So should we get them on stage?
Yeah, without further ado, here's Gail Porter
and Jen Natasha.
Welcome back, Gail. You're becoming a resident on this this
exactly.
podcast.
I forgot how small I was until I got on your sofa and I can't reach the ground. It's like when you get on the bus and you swing your legs. Does anyone get that? No. Okay.
Bless.
How are you, boys?
We're all right.
Yeah.
We're all right.
We're missing you at the Z events, but we'll have to do another one. We did a zombie survival thing and was going to do it with you, but now we've got to do another one, which is a great excuse to do it.
I had my daughter that night, so I didn't think it was... I'd just taken her to the London Tombs.
Yeah.
And that is terrifying. I know I said to you guys, you've got to come, because I've literally got a lifelong pass for free. So, because I loved it so much, but it's the scariest thing. Have you been?
Yeah.
Isn't it horrible? It's like with a clown with a chainsaw, and you're just like, come on now. Really? It's really scary. It's like, if you're frightened of clowns, or murders, or anything like that, just don't go. Yeah. It's terrifying, and I'm not scared
Is it
of
one of
anything.
them like jump out and shit?
Yeah, it's worse than that, isn't it? It's like you're in a maze.
Yeah, you're in a maze and you're like really, if you're claustrophobic, don't go.
Yeah, you get squashed in, and then there's like people from asylums, and I've been sectioned, so I mean, even I was scared. It takes a lot to scare me, do you know what I mean? Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, right.
That wasn't even a joke. That's the scary part. Yeah.
So, should we start talking about your book?
Your book, I brought a copy in. It's the first edition actually, but just to show you. The book, it's an A to Z of Britpop.
Okay.
I thought it was the right time to write a book on Britpop because it's been 25 years.
25?
Since the first Britpop single. I know, I felt
like,
very old writing it.
Every now and again,
25 years.
on social media, and it's like, never mind, come out 30 years today, and you just think, no, it didn't. That come out about 8 years ago. And like, it's kind of things like that that really sort of make you feel your age.
Yeah. It
make
did.
you feel your age, mate. What was the first official then? What are they going from? What's the first single?
Well, it's subjective, but, you know, obviously. But what we think, 25 years ago, Blur's pop scene, March '92.
Okay.
So we've pinpointed the era from pop scene to Pulp's This Is Hardcore in March '98. So 92 to 98, with the peak years being 95 to 97, when you had like the Battle of Britpop and, you know, Nebworth. Those are the peaks of the era. But yeah, we had to pinpoint it, otherwise the book would have been like probably 3 times as thick. So we had to narrow it down. We had a lot to get through, yeah.
So you're choosing pop scene as that was the point when Blur went from being kind of baggy boys and trying to tack onto that scene.
Yeah, so we've left leisure out of the book. We started it from, Modern Life is Rubbish.
Cherry Red Doc Martens and Fred Perry's and all of a sudden
Fred Perry
that was kind of...
Stu's acting like he knows a lot about Britpop. Jen, the other night we were sat here and he said, what's in your top 5 Britpop? And when he put me on the spot, my mind went a bit blank. So he helped me out a little bit. And the first one he said was, do you want to tell everyone what you said?
No.
Beastie Boys. He said the Beastie Boys. And I'm like, you know everything about indie music, and yet you went in with Beastie Boys, and then Prodigy, and I was like, I don't think they are, mate, but you were adamant. And I was like, well, okay.
We got sidetracked talking about mid-90s music, and so that's why I mentioned a bit, for fuck's sake.
No, you can't get out
You know
of
what?
that,
Someone
mate.
said to me, Spice Girls. I was like,
No.
not in the book.
Took more than a dress.
Yeah.
Like, so, are you from London?
I'm from Swansea.
Right, I thought as much.
If I've had
so,
more to drink, you would have got a more Welsh.
so was you in London in the mid-90s?
You know what? No.
Okay.
And I was gutted I wasn't. I observed from far away in South Wales, you know. We had a
It's
little
probably
small
safer.
scene.
It's probably safer.
Yeah.
I don't remember much about the 90s.
You
Right,
were
yeah.
slap bang in the middle of it, Gail, wasn't you? You were living the Britpop
whatever.
madness.
Yeah.
Where was you then? Was you Soho then?
Yes. I lived
Okay.
in Soho for 7 years.
Whoa.
Yeah. Well, I was single and, you know, I was busy and I worked at Virgin Radio at the time as well, so I was just literally could go next door and that was me at work. And it was Chris Evans' time, so it was a bit... We were in the pub by 9 a.m. and that was normal. You're just like, oh, he'd like knock on the doors of the local pubs and they'd all be ready for us. And we didn't think that was odd. Like, it's 9 o'clock. We'll hit the pubs. It's fine, right? Yeah.
Was
So
that
what-
every day? Was you partying like that every day?
It was well. I was doing kind of the big breakfast in the morning, so I was, you know, up at 2 o'clock in the morning doing that, then doing radio, and so by the time it got to 9 o'clock in the morning, it was like lunchtime because you've been up since 2 o'clock, and then you do Top of the Pops at night, and then you didn't know what day it was. You're like, oh. And then you just keep going again, and then
What was it like doing Top of the Pops, hosting that?
oh, that was great fun. Can you imagine getting the phone call and saying, "Oh, what are you doing on a Thursday?" It was I think we recorded it on a Thursday, went out on a Friday, didn't it?
Yeah.
But we pretended it was live. And I had a box for that, right? I'm not even joking, because I was so small that they couldn't see me over the kids. So they used to carry, they used to carry this box going, get Gail's box and put it over there, opposite Blur, you like that. And then you climb up and like that, oh, hi, it's Gail's box. And all the kids like, I was like, what did they feed you? How are you so big? But it was brilliant fun. But I always, when you were mentioning Blur, I always hid from Damon every time he came in, because I had a crush. So I was always in the toilets, and I never met him, and I just refused point blank to meet him. And then one day I met him outside in Soho somewhere, and he was really drunk. He's going, "You hide from me!" I was like, oh, I thought I was just being really cool, and he hadn't noticed. But he's like, "We know you're in the toilet." I was like, oh, that went down well. Yeah.
Were you there that time when Elastica played and
yeah.
Damon Albarn was on keyboards and he was known as Dan Abnormal?
That's
yeah,
right.
that's right. Yeah,
Yeah.
because he was going
Yeah.
out with her, wasn't he?
Yeah,
Louise,
yeah,
wasn't it? She was
yeah.
very pretty.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
could
he
you
is.
feel like that there was a scene happening?
Yeah.
It was a, you know, like,
Oh yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah,
Because-
it was fun. Like you said with Huey, I bumped into him in New York, bizarrely, and he'd been on Top of the Pops a couple of weeks before, and he's like, it was when he enjoyed himself, and he's like, hey, do you want to come to my flat? There's like a couple of people. It was just like, I couldn't, once you could get through the smoke, I was like, where are we? Oh my gosh, I was like, I'm in Huey's flat. I had to leave because I didn't know what was going on and I couldn't understand what anyone was talking about. But it was like one of those things that you tick off, you've been there,
Yeah.
done that. Yeah.
because living just outside of London, we were sort of 20 minutes from London, and I mean, you was about 4 when this was happening, weren't you? But
15, I guess, 14,
it fell perfectly for me. I was like sort of 19, 20, and in bands, and wanted to go to Camden and you know, drink in a good mixer and play the kind of the toilet circuit that it was at the time, and for, you know, as a starstruck indie kid, you got to bump into these people.
Yeah, they
you
were
know,
all
you'd
out,
go
weren't they?
Yeah.
and
Did you used to go
I
into all
didn't.
that?
I mean, when I was 15, I managed to persuade my parents to let me go to Nebworth.
What's
So
that like?
it was incredible.
What year was that,
I had to
Nebworth?
stand on my rucksack to actually see.
Did you?
'cause
So
I was,
like
I was
me,
so
but
small.
you're
Yeah.
short too.
I had a-
5'1". How are you?
5'3". I have to think about that then.
just too tall for a
But at
box.
the time,
Yeah.
probably 4'5", you know.
I told my doctor I was
Tiny.
5'4.5". He's like, oh, bless you. I was like, I am.
Was
What's your box?
Nebworth more than 1 year? Excuse my ignorance. Was
What's
it
that?
just 1 year, Nebworth?
Well, yeah, it was 2 gigs.
2 gigs.
Yeah, August
okay.
96.
Who was at that? Because all I
That was
remember is
great.
wasn't Prodigy there
I went on
at
the
one
day,
point?
the Prodigy day,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
that was great. Manic Street Preachers,
Ah.
Prodigy, Cooler
Ocean
Shaker
Colour
on the
Scene.
second. Yeah, Ocean Colour Scene, Cooler Shaker. It was like the Britpop gig, really. But Prodigy were there as well.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Beastie Boys one.
Yeah. Spice Girls.
What did you think of Cooler Shaker, Jen? Did you like them?
Loved Cooler
Yeah,
Shaker.
see, I loved them. That young man over there, he hated them.
Really?
Yeah.
Couldn't stand Cooler Shaker.
No
He was
way.
posh boy, wasn't he?
He was. Do you know, I interviewed them once, and they were really, really rude, and I was quite nervous at the time, and because I was used to people were nice in the 90s, and everyone had a laugh, but they were really rude and really up themselves. So I was like, I don't even like you. You don't even have to do this. This is for kids' telly. Do you know what I mean? It's not like we're doing Parkinson. They were like really, really serious. Like, you do know you're going to get gunged after this, yeah? Yeah. Anyway. So funny.
Like, it
How
really...
can you not like Cooler Shaker? You didn't like a bit of Tap Var?
do you know what?
Yeah,
I had a letter printed in Viz, right?
Did you? What was it? Tell me.
No
I love the
way.
letters in
Yes.
Viz.
It
Oh,
went,
God.
la. I'm not listening to any of you people that try and tell me that Cooler Shaker are any cop. I will rather have it off with than listen to their vile pile of retro toss, and I will gladly give that 90s bunch of... No, that 60s, that retro bunch of knobs a 90s style hide in a pub car park of their choice.
He's very proud of it. He's memorised it.
That's amazing.
Lots
was
of
something
love,
like that.
Stu,
It is memorable.
1995.
But I got a Viz pen. I got a
Did
letter.
you?
Yeah, I got a letter in Viz. And but I couldn't stand him. And like there was something about Cooler Shaker that they
His name's
just...
a bit annoying. Crispin.
Crispin Mills,
Crispin.
son
He's
of
a bit
Hayley
irritating,
Mills.
yeah.
I mean, that
She was in the
reeks-
Railway Children, wasn't she?
Yeah. Just...
It's not
posh
exactly
boy.
Taxi Driver or anything, is it?
Exactly.
You know what I mean? If you're going to be cool, be cool.
Did you like them then?
But I loved that album, K, you know.
Yeah.
There was so many hits on it, like, you know, Tap Var,
Yeah.
Hey Dude,
I didn't like it.
Govinda,
Yeah.
I'm with
Govinda,
you.
Jaya Jaya.
Thank you.
Everyone
I
tried to
wouldn't
sing
even know
that
what they were
song.
talking about.
Yeah, no one really knew. They attempted it, you know.
Well, the kind of, I guess, when people look back at when record companies jumped on that kind of Britpop London scene, the one band that I think, and he's going to be coming on the podcast in a few weeks, was Menswear.
Yeah.
And Menswear become the kind of little poster boys for it, really, didn't they? 'Cause they were all
did,
pretty boys,
yeah.
but they're from Essex. And Chris was Chris Gentry, who was the kind of lad guitarist, kind of boy about town, who someone has told me that Charmless Man is written about him, the Blur
Yeah.
track, apparently so. But yeah, they kind of become that kind of thing where the labels just wanted to find the next kind of Britpop band, and
Yeah.
and there weren't a lot of, I don't know.
That's the Menswear story, yeah.
Yeah.
But they looked
I
a little
mean-
bit like they were in a catalogue shoot, didn't they?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
and if I remember rightly, they were on Top of the Pops before they had a record deal.
Yeah.
They were on there with I
Yeah,
Managed
they were,
Somehow,
yeah.
and before they'd even been
Yeah.
signed. So I think there was
Yeah.
a feature in Select magazine or
Yeah,
something
Select
like
magazine,
that.
yeah. They were the only
about
band
this.
to be
Yeah,
unsigned
Oh
to
my
yeah,
the
God,
Pops,
yeah.
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 That was crazy. I did
Select.
actually bump into Matt Everett in Glastonbury a few years
Well, he's
ago.
become a really
that would have
successful
been
DJ,
good
hasn't
for
he?
the Embarrassing Stories podcast, though, so I'll save that.
Oh, no.
Why were you related
don't.
to him? No.
No.
All right,
I
just
didn't
check.
realise
Don't
he
save
was,
it,
he was
Jen,
stood
tell us.
behind me in a Rolling Stones gig with Sean Keaveney. I don't know if I should say this.
Yeah, you should.
go on.
Definitely.
We'll edit it out.
Get a glass of
Bear
wine.
in mind, 125,000 people watching Rolling Stones. I'm in the middle. I've been drinking Brother's Cider all day. Toilets aren't really in near distance, so I had to be one of those people who peed into a cup.
There you go. You're in good company.
Sean Keaveney
Ladies
and
and
Matt
gentlemen, Jen
Everett stood
Natasha,
behind
thank
me.
you very much.
I'm going to regret that.
And
Anyway.
Matt and Sean,
Stood behind me, yeah.
did they do the thing with the coach to kind of try and shield it from anyone else, or did they just
My
kind of...
plus one, Lisa, she did try and shield me with her coat.
That's a friend.
At least
I'm
it
gonna
wasn't
regret
a wine
this, anyway.
bottle. That was messy.
It was
Oh,
around
yeah.
like V97. Did you guys used to see like
Aiming.
the bottle wars that were happening? I think it was V97, and all the bottles were just getting thrown.
I used
That
to
was
avoid
insane.
V for that reason.
It was
That was
absolutely
once a
crazy.
wee in it.
Well, there was
Yeah.
like every now and
Yeah,
then
that
one
was
would hit someone
disgusting.
close to
Yeah.
you, and it'd be really warm, and you're like, "That's not."
I had to
That's
leave
not
the
water.
festival
Why
once
would you
because
do
of that.
that?
Yeah.
Yeah, I got covered in pee.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I mean, it's
Well, not
one
your
thing
own,
peeing in
that
it,
would
but
have been-
don't chuck it, you know?
Yeah.
Put it on the floor.
Classy.
Politely.
Very classy, yeah.
So, of that era, Gal, like, who was your kind of heroes? Who was the ones that you got to, obviously, on when you guested on our podcast, you literally met the most famous people on the planet and embarrassed yourself meeting 5 of the ones that you mentioned.
Yeah, I always embarrass myself all the time. My daughter Sue, she's actually sitting backstage because she doesn't even want to watch me. She's just like, oh, no. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I always embarrass myself constantly. So I get really nervous or trip up or, you know, just say something untoward. And, you know, the Damon thing is just mortifying still to this day. And I think, they used to walk past the toilet and go, all right. And I was like, they're talking to somebody else. But they knew I was there. I was hiding. Okay. And, but yeah, one of my ex was in a band, The Prodigy. And so that was interesting, to say the least. So yeah, no, it was just, everything was great fun. And like I said, when I was on the podcast last time, I did a film show where you just got paid to talk to people about their movies. And some people were rude and some people were great. And embarrassing. But it was really good fun because like I said before, everyone was more friendly and everyone was excited and there was so many things going on and like you say there was great gigs and
it was a positive time in the 90s.
Whereas now I couldn't unless I don't watch reality telly, so I don't when you look in the mag I don't know who anyone is. I don't know what anyone does anymore.
Or where the scene is, because you
need
said
a top of the pops.
You do need a top of the pops because
you need a top of the pops.
That was and a TFI Friday. That was the kind of the central hub, wasn't it, where bands got a chance to perform and everyone would see that. And
or the White Room was my personal favourite.
White Room.
Loved the White Room.
The White Room was great.
Mark Radcliffe.
Yeah, and exactly things like that. You just all you've got now is Jules Holland.
Do you think any scenes are competing with that now? Because I know that in your book you sort of said that was the last great British music scene, really. And do you think anything's come close to it since? Because I agree. I'm not trying to set you up for a fall.
I don't think you do agree, Chris.
No, I do.
I don't know if this
agree.
is just. I don't know if this is just me sounding old, but there's just nothing like it these days. I mean, someone asked me, the other day, like, do you think there'll be a Britpop revival? And I said, well, we're actually in the midst of one. So I think that's the probably closest thing to it. Like Shed 7, they're touring, they've got a new album out, it's amazing.
Blue Tones.
Sleeper Reformed, Blue Tones. A lot of the albums were turning 20 and being reissued on vinyl, prompting people to like buy record players, and vinyl sales have gone through the roof. But that's all because of the 90s bands. They've all come back. So I think the Britpop revival is the next closest thing.
The scenes we've had in the last 10 years have been more electronica orientated and dance music orientated, and they've sort of never quite. We had dubstep that was crazy for a few years, and it was good for a bit. Then it went a bit weird, and grime. Everyone was going crazy for grime again last year, because that's been going for God knows how long. Again last year, it became flavour of the month for a bit, and it sort of fizzled off again.
Corrupt FA. I love that program. What's the one?
People just do nothing.
Oh my gosh, I love that. Have you seen it? So good. Have you not seen it? What's it called? People just do nothing.
Oh, I've heard about this.
You've got to watch it.
Right,
it's really funny. Yeah. Really funny. I really like it. So, they're quite good at doing that rapping thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, they're really good.
Yeah.
So am I supposed to like this, or is this? I don't know. I'm getting old. I'm not sure of it. Yeah, because they were playing at the Roundhouse and I missed it, unfortunately.
Oh, did they?
Yeah, they played a couple of weeks back. Yeah.
Speaking of the Roundhouse, something that's come back is MTV Unplugged, because that was part of the 90s as well,
really?
wasn't it?
Yeah.
I was there on Wednesday and Biffy Clyro. Yeah, it was really good.
Scottish.
So hopefully, I think they're just bringing these things back, because there's nothing.
Well, they need to, don't they?
Yeah, need to.
It's like the big breakfast. I mean, you get up in the morning and you just switch it on and go, wow, this makes no sense whatsoever. Yeah. We don't even know what's going on.
I'm watching Zig and Zag and Joe Mangle. It was amazing, wasn't it?
Oh, brilliant. Yeah, highlights.
I mean, I remember they got in, what's his name, the Three Decks DJ, what's his name? Carl Cox. Three Decks, wasn't it? Come on, young people.
Your accent made it sound like I figured that.
Oh my God, you thought it was something rude.
That's a proper big breakfast.
DECKS.
First thing in the morning.
I mean, that's a proper DJ, isn't it?
Whoa.
That's the name of his new album. But yeah, there was one time we got into work at like 5 o'clock in the morning, and the producer's like, right, so you and Carl Cox with his Three Decks will be in the toilet at 7:30 a.m. DJing, and you just go, right. And that was fine. You would just do it, and it's not like you went to like a bank, or you went to the shop and going, right, you're on the tills today. You're going, right, you've got to be with a big bloke and DJing in a toilet with 3 decks. I mean, you just did it, and you just thought, yeah, that's fine. That's all right. Everyone's going to get that. 7 a.m.
So who was your faves from that era?
God, I mean, all over my wall was Oasis. That was the first thing. I mean, before that, I was listening to 60s bands, because I was like, there's nothing to listen to these days. This is back in '95. But then I was in my GCSE art class and I was listening to Live Forever on my friend's CD Walkman. And that was it. It opened the door. You know, I listened to the whole of Definitely Maybe, and I was like, oh my God, I'm obsessed. Got What's the Story, Morning Glory, and then all the Britpop bands were coming out, and it was brilliant. You know, fresh new music every week. So I think it started with Oasis, but then it progressed to other bands like Blur, massive Blur. You know, the question back then was, do you like Oasis or Blur?
Did you? Who was
Like
you
both.
with then? Was you just both? You was
Both,
oh,
yeah.
Smart
But I'd
move.
say it was Oasis because you weren't allowed to like both.
No, you see, I really didn't like Blur. I really
Oh,
liked
really?
Oasis for the first 2 records, and now I much prefer Blur.
I think the
True
question now is
story.
Liam or
Blur.
Noel, isn't it?
Yeah.
What's that?
The question now is Liam or Noel.
Liam or Noel, yeah.
Well, I always kind of looked at the difference. To me, like, Oasis were like the Stones. They were going to have the same sound. Whatever they'd done, they were never going to be that experimental. It was just going to be solid rock and roll. Whereas Blur were more Bowie. I think every album was a different direction and a progression. And so I was always more interested in what Blur done. But I just always struggled with Damon Albarn. I just didn't... He never seemed for
So
real.
did Gail, but
Like-
for different reasons.
I don't know
But
what it was. He just made me go weird.
Same.
Weirder.
But speaking of
Definitely.
boxes, Liam Gallagher's really small, isn't he?
Is he?
I presumed, like, I saw Richard Ashcroft.
He's really tall.
Yeah.
Like, you get a nosebleed when you look up.
Well, I saw. We went to see Richard Ashcroft, this tiny little secret gig thing at the Electric Ballroom in Camden, and we got there really early, and we was just standing at the bar, and there's about 4 people in there, and we were standing next to this bloke who looked like a painter and decorator, and we were just having a couple of beers, and then of the few people that were in there, Liam Gallagher has walked in, and rather than just kind of be subtle and just walk round the side and just go and get a beer, he'd done a full Liam fucking bowl right the way through the middle of the dance floor, so everyone knew that Liam Gallagher was there, and was walking towards us, and I was thinking, fucking hell's Liam Gallagher? And straight away I was thinking, he's really small. Because you just presume he's going to be this big gangly kind of like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And he walked straight to us, and then, unbeknown to me, the painter and decorator was Bonehead. And was just chatting away to Bonehead, and I was like, fucking hell, I was sitting there to Bonehead for about an hour. No idea, he just looked like one of your dad's mates. But yeah, okay, so...
How about
do you
you,
listen
Gail,
to
then?
now?
I'm still stuck in the 90s.
Are you still? Okay,
No,
there's
I
nothing
mean,
wrong with
God,
that.
what do I listen to now? I mean, yeah, the new 90s stuff. Shed Seven's album, Instant Pleasures.
must get
It's
that.
really
It's such a
good. Really good, yeah.
Whose
But I
would yours
listen
be,
to Prodigy
Gail?
a lot as well.
Sorry, Jen.
Yep.
Whose would yours be from back in the day, Britpop?
Who would my favourite have been?
Yeah.
I was obviously Blur. I love my Blur. I love
Yeah.
Elastica.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think mostly Blur. And then when he did all the Gorillaz stuff, I just thought it was genius. I loved it.
Yeah.
And when he did his stuff with Ian Brown, I loved the obviously Stone Roses
Yeah.
and all that. Yeah, love all that stuff. I remember Ian Brown came to knock on my door when I was doing Big Breakfast, and that was another one that I'd hide from because you know I don't know, he might punch you or something. But yeah, he knocked on the door and he's like, all right, I'm Ian. I was like, oh my God, hey everybody. And we didn't have mobile phones or anything. I was like, has anyone got a Polaroid camera? No, Gail, it's 5:30 a.m. I was like, right, okay, nice to meet you, Ian. So that went down well. But yeah, probably that kind of.
How about you, mate? Have you got any ones that stick out? Blur and Oasis, it's tough not to list them. Like,
I
I
like
went through
some-
mine and I was like, I've got to put them both in there.
I like some kind of more... I'm not just being a wanker
Oh,
for
here
being a
we go.
wanker. So I'll say Jarvis Cocker was the coolest by a mile.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think Jarvis was just a complete pop star for me. You know, absolute uber geek nerd. Should never have been a pop star and become one of the most famous people in British music at that point with the Jackson thing and stuff like that. And I just think he was just so fucking great, Jarvis Cocker. I thought he was brilliant. And that was one of the things about Britpop that I think it gave the underdogs and the aspiring musicians and the awkward kids that chance to pick up a guitar and become famous and you know and get their music out. So I kind of like that.
Or you could just pull your trousers down and pull a Mooney.
Yeah,
like Jarvis
exactly.
did.
Instant fame. Like,
Yeah, straight away.
but I really liked. There was a band called My Life Story that I really
Yeah.
liked them, and there was a band called David Devant and his Spirit Wife that I was a bit obsessed with as well.
I
So-
think you've just made that up.
I know. But yeah, I liked them, and I loved the Cardigans.
Oh, I like the Cardigans.
Yeah, she was
was
quite
lovely,
lovely,
wasn't
wasn't
she?
she? Yeah.
There are loads of obscure bands, and that's partly why we wrote the book as well, because there's about 100 bands in there.
Yeah.
It's just that you forget half of them, and then reading it, you're like, oh yeah, that one.
Is the book out now?
Yeah, it came out last week. Finally.
And I know it's for sale on Amazon, and I've seen your pictures on your social media, so it's definitely in Waterstones.
Yeah.
And so what we do when we post this show out, then we'll tag everyone and everything.
We'll link you in and give it a push as well.
So Britpop aside, kind of London. What's London mean to you?
Me?
Yeah.
Oh gosh. Well, I was talking to my daughter about this on the tube, thinking what would be like my top 5 things in London. I think, well, I don't know, not the tubes. The tubes really do my head in. Really do my head in at the moment. They're just too sweaty. And I can't reach the blinking pole thing, so I fall into people, and it's not cool. And I've got this ring, which I love this ring, but I have attached myself to quite a few people, and I think they think I'm trying it on, and I'm like, no, I'm serious. Could you? Oh my God, yeah. So that's not very cool. But yeah, I love London for all sorts of different things. I like the kind of, I like when they get the ice skating rinks at winter time.
Oh yeah.
I'm terrible at ice skating. Can you ice skate?
Nope.
No, I'm shocking.
Have a good laugh trying though.
I was hanging onto the side last year and just watching my daughter go round and round, and I was like, I can't.
There's some really cool ones. There's one by Canary Wharf, and there used to be one by Tower, what is it? Tower of London?
It's Tower of London, it's a big
Bridge,
place.
Yeah, it's quite well known. And I
The
think
kings and queens live in there, mate.
And the Tombs, that's one of my favourite things about being in London.
Yeah,
And
good
you've
shout.
got to come to that Tombs
Oh, yes.
thing, honestly.
I want to go again.
I
No,
actually-
it's terrifying.
I was supposed
yeah.
to go for Halloween, and
wanted
nobody
to
would
go for
come with me.
Halloween.
Did you?
I
We could have been
wanted to go.
friends.
No one would come with me.
No one would come with me
It's
either.
scary.
And I was too scared to go on my own. I was like, no, I can do this. No, I can't
Yeah.
actually. I'm really scared because there was a big guy that was behind me. Because they put
Yeah.
people at the front. They go,
Yeah.
right, you. They asked me to say my name 3 times, so I thought I was going to die. You know when you see it in films, you go, what's your name? I was like, it's Gail.
Yeah.
What's your name? It's still Gail. What's your name? Oh my God, I'm going to die. They're going to kill me. There's going to be a murder. And then, so I went to the front, and then they said to my daughter, what's your name? I was like, oh, this is it. It's like 6 names. Oh. And so she did it 3 times, and she went, you're at the back. And my daughter's like, it's my birthday. It's my 15th birthday. The zombie lady just went, I don't care. And then they left you.
Yeah,
They
I
just
know,
leave
it's
you.
horrible.
And then
Yeah.
they shut the door, and then
It's
that's
awful
it.
when they leave you because it's a real tomb, isn't it?
It's
There's
a
about
real tomb.
2,000 bodies down there.
Yeah.
You know, so that's terrifying. You're down there. You take a lift down as well.
Yeah, because suddenly
Yeah.
you've gone through. It's a little bit like the London dungeons upstairs. So you do.
Yeah.
This is not too bad.
Yeah.
You know the history, and
Then
they sort of like
suddenly-
talk you through things, and suddenly you're going into death time.
Yeah.
And
And in the end, that whiff of petrol.
Oh my
so you smell petrol, and then you hear the chainsaw, and you're like,
yeah, and then this chainsaw is coming at you, and
It's
so
always
I'm
you.
screaming, running ahead, forgetting that a poor 15-year-old's at the back, and he's chasing my daughter. It's like, ah! I was like, happy birthday to you, everyone, happy birthday. But the guy behind me was massive, right? And I said to him, look, I can't remember what his name was, Mike or Dave or something. I was like, could you go in front of me because I'm really shitting myself? And he's like, no way. It's like massive. And I was like, seriously? He's like, I don't care. And I was hanging on to him, and his wife's going, it's fine, you can hang on to him. I was like, I'm not even listening to you. Get him to go in front. No, he was having none of it. I was terrified.
I saw
Got
your
to go.
face change because you was thinking, that sounds amazing. Till Jen mentioned there's real tombs down there. You get funny with shit like that, don't you?
It's a real
Because
tomb.
we was going to do a Halloween special. And we was chatting to Brad, and we was going to do like a little video, kind of Blair Witch style, where me and Chris would be running around with torches under our faces, trying to like freak each other out. And then I went, and he was going, yeah, we do that, yeah.
I was really up for that.
was going, Brad was going, yeah, but we do it like in like a playing field, and I was like, what? And I was like, no, we've got to go and find somewhere pretty fucking scary. And all of a sudden, Brad was on the back foot, and I went, we could do a Ouija board.
I'm out.
no way.
Mate, I like to laugh. I ain't raising the fucking dead. And you got proper serious,
I'm always
didn't
up
you?
for getting scared, but I've got one rule, and if Craig's only ever got one rule, it's don't fuck with Ouija boards. That is it. I'm like, no.
But I thought you was fucking around, and you was like, no,
No,
seriously,
I'm
man,
dead
I'm not
serious.
raising the dead.
I'm like, I'm up for honestly anything, but you know, I've always, you know, I don't want to get the heebie-jeebies. I don't, you know. You've seen The Exorcist, right? My head
have.
turning round on his, yeah, no,
It is.
horrible. But then after about a week, I was kind of thinking, oh, maybe we should do it.
That's the good thing about Chris. You can go, Chris, I'll tell you what you should do for this video. I ain't doing that, it's embarrassing. Oh, go on. Nah. Go on. No. Chris. All right. It's generally 3 go-ons, and then it's a goer.
There's a theme there with the 3 thing, isn't it? I used to look for dead people in America. That was my job.
Well, that was your job.
That was my job, yeah.
Fucking hell.
See, I'm up for that. I don't mind
What
like
do you mean
going
you're
to
up
those
for that?
places
Right,
and
but
talking,
now there's a crowd.
going to them and talking and seeing if anything's there.
No,
I'm
we
cool
were doing
with.
Ouija boards,
But
we were doing
Ouija boarding
voodoo.
it up. No.
Voodoo
you-
and stuff.
You used to meet the maniacs, didn't you? That,
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
Oh, yeah. There was one guy, oh, bless him, he used to get possessed every night by different people, but it's all famous people, obviously.
Standard.
So there was one time he was, what's his name? Davis Jr.
Sammy Davis
Sammy
Jr.
Davis Jr. They had to cut me out. I was like, who is he? Is it Karl Marx? Is he as a Marx brother? Or he's gone, Sammy Davis. I was like, oh, no. And then there was
How did he change? Was it like a, oh, amazing?
And you're trying to take it seriously. But John Lennon, I had to walk out. I had to walk out. They brought this American guy in, and he had the worst. I'm going to get you this episode. I'm not in it. The camera's like this, because the camera girl's like, she's looking at me going. This guy comes in with a wig on, and he's got a hat on, and of course he's got the glasses like that, you know. And he's American. He's going, oh yeah, John Lennon comes to me every night, and we have a chat. And you're like, do you know what? But after year 3, I was like, oh, whatever. So anyway, he's sitting there, and he's got this woman with him. I don't know who she was. I think she was supposed to be Yoko Ono, but yeah, don't know. But she said, oh, you'll know when it happens. Not another one. And then suddenly he's just chatting away to you. Then he goes, oh.
How do you keep a straight face?
I couldn't. I was just like, oh my
Was
God.
that when it was happening, Gal?
No,
Or
he was
not?
like, yeah.
He was like, oh, it's happening. He's like, no, he just does that.
He went, oh, why is the sky blue? And I don't know what accent that was. I don't know who he'd been possessed by, but he's going, oh, the sky is so blue. I'm from Liverpool. I was like, game over. I'm out.
Was the show meant to be?
It was supposed to be serious, so they put lots of like really serious music on it, but there was sometimes you just had to go, I can't do this. Sometimes it was scary.
That's what I was going to say. Was there?
Yeah. There was times where it was scary, but then there was times when you had nutters, and you could spot the psychics coming a mile away because they'd all have T-shirts. It's psychic on it. Just they'd be walking down Vegas to the strip. They're all quite large Americans, and they'd all have psychic just in case they forgot or didn't quite figure it out. And you're like, oh my God, the psychics are coming. And you'd have to just be really nice. They're going, I was going to get married 8 times apparently, and I was going to have about 14 children and all sorts of things. And then I was going to die on the plane home. I got told everything. I was just like, yeah, whatever. Don't mind.
So what's an example of one that actually spooked you?
We were in a place it was just outside of Texas, and we were looking for, it was just a comedian, I can't remember what, Lucille Ball.
Yeah.
We were looking for Lucille Ball, as you do, and we went into this hotel room, and it was a really spooky hotel, and I was in a room on my own, and then the phone started ringing, no one was on the phone, and it went on all night. Then the lights started moving, and we weren't filming at the time. It was just me in the room on my own. And when I lost my hair when I was filming over there, when I came back, my mum went, you see? You've been messing with the dark side. It's like, no, I've got alopecia. It's an autoimmune deficiency. No, it's the ghosts. So there you go. If anyone's got alopecia, you haven't. It's just ghosts have taken your hair in the night. So, yes.
I take it all of this was filmed, obviously, in America.
Yeah.
Just fucking around with Ouija boards.
Yeah, we did Ouija boards as well.
Yeah, that's why I'm not
We
I'm
did
not doing
table tipping with witches, which was hilarious.
You done
What's
what?
table
Tipping. They pick up, you hold the table up, and then you've got all these witches in pants. Don't know why they were in pants, but they were in pants with dead ravens and stuff in the room.
Whoa, sorry.
Which way are you going to? The pants, the table, the ravens?
The people there that are witches and they're wearing pants.
Yes, black pants.
Right.
With blood all over them. Not on the pants, but on their chest. They had raven blood on them. This was in Salem, because we went to find witches and stuff.
Black pants and blood on them.
Black pants
covering
and blood
up,
on them.
They
and
covering
then
up
holding
these
this
bits.
table. And it's obvious that they were just spinning around holding the table, and they're going, oh, the table is moving on its own. They're going, you've all got your hands under it. I was like, right, if it's moving on its own, move the hands. No, it's the energy. No, it's not. You're lifting it and you're spinning it in your pants. Anyway, that's what we did.
I'd
That was
love
my
to do
job.
that. It'd be amazing. So, Jen, how about you then? What's your favourite thing about London?
Well, I missed out on the Britpop scene because I was in Swansea, but probably like the restaurant scene.
Yeah.
Always eating out. Yeah, a few times a
Nando's.
week.
That's
Curry.
a big favourite of mine.
Nando's.
But have you got any specific ones? Any ones that you like the most?
Dishoom.
Dishoom.
Yep, love Dishoom.
Our buddy's
Curry.
just
How
opened the
weird
Soho
is
one.
that?
Where's
That's
that?
very weird
That's
you
amazing.
say
There's
that.
quite a few of them now. Yeah, there's
Our,
one in
um,
Shoreditch. That's where it started.
Mm.
Best curry. It's better than Brick Lane.
Our
I'd say.
previous guest, Ed Kiggins, can't be here today because he was going to come on and talk about restaurants, and he's just took over the new Dishoom in the West End that's going to be opening soon.
Mm-hmm.
And
Another one.
it's going to be a Gatsby-style immersive experience as well.
Meets Bollywood is really cool.
Yeah.
But they're doing sort of friends and family at the moment, Jen. So, because we're going on Monday, I think, for breakfast or brunch or whatnot. But if you give me your email, I'll get Ed to send you an invite and
Love to.
go to the
Yeah.
opening.
It's my favourite
Yeah.
restaurant.
Cool.
That's good.
Cool.
Yeah.
And
So
did you
the
Winter
food-
Wonderland?
Oh, I haven't been for years actually. It's in Hyde Park, isn't it?
Every
I'll have to
day
go
I
again.
go. Have you? Oh, you have to go.
Yeah.
It starts on Thursday.
Yeah.
Not that I'm going there on Thursday.
God, it's already
Friday
starting.
and
That's
Saturday.
So I'm going to mention something. When I asked Chris about what his favourite things were about London, you decided to kind of try and be highbrow, didn't you? And add a bit of culture. And I went, oh, okay, mate. So
Yeah.
I had to write this down because we've got a few notes, but all my notes are just generally being horrible at Chris. Chris mentioned he really liked the giant squid in London Museum.
Right, stop there. Who knows what I'm talking about here? Can anyone put their hand up and just one person? I'll give you some money. No one. No, all right, okay.
Well, you got one.
One. Where was
got
that?
one.
Where was that? Oh, thanks, man. Yeah, cool. I got you.
Everyone a big fan of London Museum? Squids?
Right.
Were you at the aquarium?
No.
Are you sure?
Chris meant the blue whale in the Natural History Museum.
I didn't.
I really like the fucking big squid in London Museum.
I meant the Natural History Museum.
Well, I've done
And-
that.
and
You
there
go,
is-
Why are you writing that down? Why are you writing that down? You're going to say that, aren't you?
Yeah. And there is a giant squid there, which has got a lot smaller. Since I was like 9, it looked massive. But that doesn't beat the Beastie Boys, mate. I mean, come on, man. You can try with that one.
I'll tell you what, we've got a few minutes till we're going to take a break. So obviously we need you to think about questions and that for the end of the second half. And we've got our next two guests coming on as well. But anything about London you might want to shout out that we've got 5 minutes to have a chat about something. So any ideas? My favourite venue? Good shout. That's a really good shout. Chris?
For clubbing or for gigs? Ooh. I like the little one at the Queen of Hoxton when we used to put on like little bands. I think that's a cool little venue to see bands. And you used to have like DJs upstairs and then you get the live music scene downstairs. So I kind of used to like that. Miss it a little bit, to be honest with you.
Okay.
Yeah. How about you then?
Me?
Yeah.
It's really weird because, like, to see bands or to have played in would be different. I never played the Roundhouse in Camden, but
Did you get to London with your bands when you toured? That's a long way from Essex. I'm surprised they booked you this far out.
to play would have been somewhere small and sweaty like the Dublin Castle,
Okay, yeah.
but then played is now Coco, but was the Camden Palais, and I really like that venue. I think it's great, and I saw Public Enemy there a couple of years ago, and it was brilliant. But
They were a great bit pop band, weren't they?
they were no Beastie Boys. Gal?
I like Coco,
Yeah.
I must
Yeah.
admit, and I do like the little places in Camden as well. Just Electric Ballroom, I quite enjoy. I went to see a gig actually. I went to see Tears for Fears at the Albert Hall last week.
I've got tickets. I'm
Have
going
you?
to
Are
see
you in
them
the one in- is it
Brighton
March?
in
No.
March.
Yeah, I think I'm going to that one. It's really good.
Oh, I love
It
it.
was really good. I love a bit Tears for Fears because they played it in Hyde Park with the Killers. It was
Yeah.
the first time my daughter had seen them, and I was a bit thinking, I don't know if she's going to like it, but she loved it. It was really good.
amazing.
As long as I didn't sing too much. But yeah, I like the little venues in Camden. It kind of reminds me of being young as well.
Yeah.
What about you?
I think like used to, it's like, it depends. Yeah, if you're playing, I would say the 100 Club.
Are you in a
Oh,
band?
yeah.
When I was, playing the circuit back in the day.
What was your band called?
I was in a couple, very, no big bands or anything. First one was the Requiems, and then second one was Baxter. So we played the 100 Club. Yeah.
Do you know?
You wouldn't have heard
You
of
said
them.
that like you
Wouldn't have heard of
recognised
them.
it.
You was thinking about the dog in Anchorman, weren't you?
Yeah.
Weren't you?
Or the soup.
Yeah. You're putting two and two together and going, a whole wheel of cheese? I'm not angry, I'm impressed. Oh, God, I don't get out much.
Oh.
So the 100 Club. But to see a band, I just love Brixton Academy.
Yeah, oh, good shout.
Just being in Brixton as well, having drinks beforehand. And then, I always see a band in Brixton. I'm seeing the Prodigy there in December for the 4th time. Because they always tend to play there, don't they? So, yeah.
I saw the Pixies at Brixton a couple of years ago, and I would have changed Coco for Brixton Academy. I didn't even think of it. Didn't even pop in my head. It's
Too late, mate. You
Right,
lost.
sorry. I know the rules. Mate. Anyone?
Favourite bars or pubs?
Go on, I'll let someone else go first.
Gal?
Oh, I'm not really great to pubs. I used to go to like the John Snow in Soho just because it was right opposite my flat. And it was easy. It meant that I could just stagger home. And there was no trouble. But I don't tend to go out much now. Because I was saying to Honey, that even if you come into gigs or anything, by the time you've got the tube and you've gone half the way across London and then you've got to get back and make sure you don't miss it. I can't be bothered. I just want to go somewhere local.
Yeah.
With local people.
I like all the Borough Market pubs, like the Market Porter,
Oh, I've never been
Wheat
to them.
Sheaf.
Are they good?
Yeah, Southwark Tav. You can do a nice little crawl around there on a Saturday lunchtime.
And there's me thinking you was going to say the Good Mixer.
We're party
I
animals,
was there a
aren't we?
few weeks ago, but that was because it was after the book launch, and we were at the Waterstones around the corner, so
Yeah. Good. I would have said that growing up, the Good Mixer was the pub that I
Never
spent the
been
most
Edinburgh
time.
Castle.
And
Did you know
Yeah.
it's the Edinburgh Castle? Not the real Edinburgh Castle. There's a pub in Camden called the Edinburgh
Dublin
Castle.
Castle.
Dublin Castle.
Yeah.
No, and there's the
there's
Edinburgh
Edinburgh
one.
as well.
There's
Yeah,
Edinburgh
there's
as
two.
well, yeah, there's two.
Yeah.
where's that?
It's
It's right at the
Parkway,
top,
I
isn't it?
think.
It's like Parkway.
It's near,
Parkway.
Regent's Park. Yeah.
Good Mixer was one where you just, if you walked in there in the 90s, you would see someone out of Blur having a pint. It just seemed fucking nuts. Just going into a pub and, because you'd heard that the Good Mixer was where all the bands drunk, and it's not a nice pub, is it? It's just a dirty
It's a
North
dive,
London
but
boozer.
it's known as the Britpop pub. Like
Yeah.
apparently, like they say, menswear formed there, and
Yeah.
Alaska did a handshake deal with Deceptive Records over a pint and a packet of crisps, so no contract signed. So yeah, it's got a lot of history. Yeah.
GAY, £1, pint of wine, Kylie Minogue, midday. Seriously, it opens at midday.
Oh my God.
Not that I've been there at midday dancing, but
That's a day out right there, isn't it?
I'll take you next time.
You haven't suggested mine's Chariots yet, mate. That's always your little
No,
side
I've not
joke.
been there.
Does anyone know what Chariots is?
Yeah.
Look
As
it
if everyone's going to go, yeah.
What's Chariot?
That's it?
Yeah.
Damn it. I'm just going to go there later.
It's a sauna.
Yeah.
Where people just go and relax.
Oh yeah.
Oh.
How are we doing for time?
I love the fact you know it's closed. Oh my gosh. Oh, did you? Oh, yeah,
sure,
that
sure.
old chestnut. Yeah, yeah.
We walked past it and pushed on the door. It was locked.
You got lost again, yeah?
Dun-dun-dun.
Is
There's
here
always
every week.
XXL now.
All right, well, look, we're taking a half-hour break now, so go and get trolleyed, and then we'll be back with another 2 guests and some more chat, and then get thinking of questions that we're going to finish on, or any stories you've got about London. And should we go and have a drink as well?
Let's go and have a beer, mate.
Done that. So,
Yeah,
like to say, massive thanks to Jen and massive thanks to Gail.
Thank you, Jen. Thanks, Gal.